Well, the defense spokesperson did say that, well, look, they don't have any report whatsoever about all of this, but that they will investigate and find out if that were the case. But that's what we start today with on Sunrise Daily, and we'll be going over now to Abuja Studios, where Bala Bantex joins us. He's a former member of the House of Representatives. Morning, and thank you for joining us today. Well, having seen that, definitely we've got to be thinking about how do we get solutions to these frequent outbreaks of violence between communities and cattle herders and all of those kind of challenges. From what you've seen and heard, what do you think of all of this? How should we approach this in order to sort this challenge out, perhaps once and for all?
Well, thank you, Chamberlain, for having me this morning. Personally, the security challenges in this country today appear to have overwhelmed the security operatives generally, and the government of Nigeria and the governments of the various states, particularly the states that are affected. Kaduna State, for example, is currently under siege, particularly the area of Banungwari in the northern part, and most local governments in the southern parts of the state. These skirmishes usually start from very simple issues of arguments between, in our case in southern Kaduna, between Fulani herdsmen and farmers. But because of lack of proactive action by security agencies, because of the absence of a judicial system in place that is capable of taking care of situations as and when they happen, these things snowball into bigger issues and create a fertile ground for entry, by insurgents from outside the immediate communities that are affected. And so I think generally my own take on this is that government has to do all it takes to apply the necessary political and diplomatic solutions to some of these issues, in fact, quite ahead of the military solution that I often see government slamming on the people when these things happen. If I were to talk particularly about the case of southern Kaduna, where very recently as many as 148 innocent lives were taken in one single community of Marwa Chiefdom, within Marwa Chiefdom of Kaura local government. You will see that it's a situation, if you follow the trend that led to that, you find that there are small issues that did not receive adequate attention from government, and that snowball into these kind of things. And what we have today are theories thrown at us by the police command in the state and by the government of the state. And such theories include the fact that as far as the Fulanis are concerned, these are people that must not be tampered with. If you tamper with them, what follows is massive reprisal attacks. And you want to know whether the police has taken that for granted and are doing nothing about it. And meanwhile, these communities that are affected are not in contact with the kind of sophisticated arms that are available to some of these insurgents. And so you don't know what the police involved in this matter. You tend to get confused as to what.
Can you hear me?
The law, what the government has in place.
All right, I was saying, beyond getting the police involved in this matter, what about the major cost to all of this? Because even the police comes in 10, 20, 30 times, they have to get to the bottom of it. What is the cause of all of this in the first instance? Shouldn't we start from identifying the cause of this before you even think about getting the authorities in every time it happens? Because if we don't, one imagines it will always recur.
Well, let me be very specific, you know, with the situation that I'm very familiar with, the situation in the southern part of Kaduna. Since after the aftermath of the post-election crisis of 2011, a total of about 51 such crises have taken place after that, leaving as many as 600 people dead, mostly women, the elderly, and children, and about over 1,000 houses burnt, about 136 arrests that we don't know what the conclusion, if there is any, of any prosecution, you know, that followed. Now, like I said earlier, you know, the Fulanis, the way I look at it, because I'm not a spokesman here for the Fulanis, but I can imagine that the Fulani herdsmen have issues. There is no doubt about that. We have the issues of desertification that has shrunk the possible areas of grazing. We have increased population corresponding to this, and the paths along which the Fulani cattle normally move. Some of them apparently have disappeared. So in the course of their occupational activities of rearing, and in the absence of permanent grazing lands, they move sometimes into farmlands. And these are people who before now were welcomed in these communities every dry season, for the simple reason that even the manure that is left behind usually was used as fertilizer. And people were ready to pay to even have the Fulani settle within these communities. They were friendly, they were homely, and everybody benefited from their milk and so on and so forth. But with this new trend, which, like I said, is arising probably from the limitation of grazing areas and so on, small issues happen. But like I said, you know, Nigeria today is a country where the rule of law and the process of prosecution and is not there. Before now, if Fulanis stray into a farmland and cause damage to such farmlands, in those days it was possible for the Fulanis through the Ardo to simply be called, and once he owns up, he was ready to pay. But you see, because these days when you take a matter before the police, you don't seem to get immediate justice. So what we have in this country today is that people generally have taken the laws into their own hands. You have you know, Fulanis moving in and out of farmlands without the caution of ensuring that destruction of crops are avoided. And you find such farmers also reacting sometimes very sharply. And for a matter that could easily be solved, the government does little or nothing, like I have said. And you have one reprisal attack after the other until you get to a situation where, you know, government creates a fertile ground for insurgents, you know, to come in. Do remember that militancy is become global. It's not only national, it's become global. So in every community where government working side by side with the community fail to provide quick solution to such problems, insurgents from outside are likely to come in and take advantage, and thereafter you lose control of what is happening. And I think that is what is happening right now.